It had to be done. Assetto Corsa Evo, the early access airdrop, like we already know, is already here. Many of you guys have seen many videos on this. I wanted to jump into Ace and see what it is all about. First of all, we have to talk about that roadmap. They have dropped a sensational roadmap for us to see what it is we're going to get throughout 2025 on Assetto Corsa Evo. It is live development. But we're here. We're on the first part of early access. We are at that release, of course. What have we got? We've got 5 cars, 20 circuits. We've got practice and quick race mode, single player. A lot of in-game things that we can do for such an early access. Renting cars, purchasing cars, XP, rewards, making our profile, that driver academy. There's a lot that we can unpack here in the very early teaser. Interesting for the VR support and the triple screen support. I've got a triple screen here, but the PC unit that I'm using for gaming just now will not support that one. Need to use the second PC that I've got there to use that 4080. Maybe at some point we will have those triple screen views, but a hell of a lot that we've got here for the first part, the first release rather, of Assetto Corsa Evo. Then we've got some content drops, some more cars, some more events, and the Fuji Speedway. Excited to jump back onto Fuji Speedway. It feels like it's been a while for that one. Over to the second early release, more cars, more events, more support for VR and for the triple screen. So it's good to see a roadmap here. I wish many other games gave this, but we know exactly what to expect. Almost when to expect it. They've not put dates on this, which is quite clever from the devs. Lots more content drops, 2 all the way through to 6, 3 through to 5 early access releases, with the most important, I think, for everybody is going to be that free roam we've all seen all around Nürburgring. Is it 40 by 40 kilometers or whatever it is? It's going to be interesting to see how that one comes out overall. Then in fall of 2025 we have got the overall launch version 1 of Assetto Corsa Evo. 100 vehicles, 15 circuits, that free roam, single player and multiplayer, and everything else we can see on the list there, the dealership, showrooms, customization. There's going to be so much here. We know what to expect. It is Assetto Corsa after all. Very excited by this one. I've not done any videos on Assetto Corsa as of yet. This is the first drop for this. So unbelievably excited to jump into this. I've not actually played Assetto Corsa on a desktop as of yet. So this is the first outing I'm going to have on any Assetto Corsa on a PC, let alone on Assetto Corsa Evo. Now we can take it over to what we have actually got. The homepage I like, very basic, very simple. We know where everything's going to be. Drive, vehicles, academy, the driver, obviously creating your own profile. The gallery, something I use quite a lot for taking those screenshots. It's good for thumbnails, etc. Settings menu. I don't need to dive into that one. So a very simplistic homepage that we've got here, and it's exactly what we want in these games. We want everything to be exactly where it should be, and it looks like this is going to be the case. Had a quick play with controls there, had to set up a few things for myself. Let's create our driver profile. However, I've seen this has been quite buggy so far, but it's an early release. Let's not get our knickers in a twist here. Let's create the profile, see if it does save for us. Managed to get everything in line. Can we apply that one down there? Applied it. Hopefully it saves. I know a lot of people it hasn't been saving for. It's an early launch, guys. Let's not complain all too much. The driver academy, this is cool. This goes back to Gran Turismo days. We know it's not unlocked as of yet, but when that unlocks, it's going to be huge. I'm very excited for that one. Into the garage or the vehicles, we can see we've got a garage, we've got the showroom, a lot of things still to unlock. Initially, the first car we've got here is the 695 Biposto Abarth 500. We used that over in previous games. We're going to have a quick look at that one to start things off today. We've got the customization menus, and this is what I think should be in every game. The way that they have tailored the customization for these cars, yes, there could be more, but it's still an early launch. The level of detail that they go into with customizing the vehicles, let's do something bold. Let's change the wheel color, something bold. Let's get them bright red. But this is where things really pick up. The roughness of the finish, the clear coat roughness, the metalness of the wheels, the level of flake in it. This is a level of detail that should be in every car game. We want to do everything we can at every inch, square corner, everything in the car. We want to be able to customize it, whether it's a color, whether it's a wrap. This is what I want to see in games. We can see just how glossy a finish we can put onto those red wheels. Then we come over to the brake calipers. I've been crying out for this in other games. We need to be able to do these sorts of customizations. Let's find something bold. This seems to be the thing right now, the fluorescent yellow brake calipers, or green, whatever you want to call them. This is what we want, this is what we should have, and thankfully Assetto Corsa Evo is giving it. We can see just how bright and obnoxious those brake calipers are sticking through those red wheels. Over to the body colour, the stock colours that they've gave us for the 695 here, the grey and the yellow, we don't want that. Let's make the body colour as bold and obnoxious as the brake calipers. Let's stick them to that bright yellow or bright green, the fluorescent colour. And the other thing that's actually really intuitive here is it's a shifter. You can shift it over to the colour, then you've got the little part, the box above, and you can choose just how bright or dull you want that colour to be, what kind of finish you want. This is what we should have. The only glaring thing that's obvious here is we cannot have these red wheels. They look absolutely horrific. Let's change them back. But this is the level of detail we should be able to go into on any car game. And Assetto Corsa Evo is giving us this. This is absolutely fantastic. Yes, it is a Bar 500 or a 695. Apologies, but this is the level of detail we should be able to put into the cars. I imagine over time, with more customization unlocking, we'll be able to do our own liveries, our own decals, racing stripes, whatever it may be. This is what we want to see. We can explode the car, we can play about with it in the garage that we're here, moving the steering about, which is a very nice touch. Again, coming back to taking those pictures, to upload them, to share them. It's absolutely fantastic. This is what we want to see. I am absolutely in love, and I've not even done a race. I've not even drove a car yet. This is the kind of home menu that I want to be coming over to. We've got a goddamn rain light, which of course is prevalent in Assetto Corsa, but these are the small touches that we want to see. Come to the inside of the car, the level of detail, that plexiglass window with a little sliding frame, fantastic. I don't know if we can move that back and forth. It's just those little touches. It's the kind of things we want to see. The shifter, the little digidash in the middle of the dashboard. Is it necessary to have that? I don't necessarily know, but it's there. And another fantastic touch. It kind of looks like it's just placed there, but it's a nice touch. Level of detail, that seatbelt. Look at the level of detail on the buckles of that one. Seatbelt W33/18. Level of detail, attention to detail. These are the kind of things we pick up on. Then we come over to the static garage that we've got here, changing the lighting we've got with the time of day, the weather, whether we've got broken clouds over to rain. We can see how it changes the appearance on screen. Guys, absolutely fantastic so far. As I said, I've not even drove a car yet, and I'm already in love with the whole menu, the entrance that we have got here. Let's go over to the track garage, or the track garage for the Americans. When it comes to taking photos and screenshots, this is exactly what we should have. Yes, we can obviously drive about and do the same, especially when we get onto the open world. But this is absolutely fantastic. For me creating content especially, I can take some static photos of the car I'm using, or the track I'm on, or whatever it may be. Level of detail, 10 out of 10 so far from Assetto Corsa. Now, of course, there's a whole load of other we can do in game. There's a whole load of other cars, there's a whole load of tracks. Some have been launched to us already. We'll quickly jump over to single player here. First of all, let's explore the initial menu. We're going to jump into a practice 10-minute 45 or 10-minute session on Mount Panorama in the 695 Abarth. Kind of leaving everything as stock as I can. I'm going to play about with a couple of things, put obviously the custom assists onto here. I'm going to try and leave it as simply as we possibly can. Obviously, I think the rookie, the beginner is a bit basic for everybody to jump in on. Just making a couple of little tweaks here to get a feel for Assetto Corsa. What is it like? Initially, right now, I'm going to use it on a controller. Steering wheel is sitting right there. I've just not pulled it over for tonight. I wanted to just go in, enjoy what it is we've been launched with without being overly competitive, trying to chase myself. That's for another video. I just want to see, first of all, is it an enjoyable game? Secondly, can you actually use a joystick? Can you use a controller on this one? And thirdly, is it as good as people say? Like I say, we'll quickly jump over into a little practice session here on Mount Panorama in the 595 Abarth. Now, you can already see we can tune the car before we go on track. Now, this is the level of detail I love in Assetto Corsa. You can tailor each corner of the vehicle when it comes to the tyres, the camber, the toe, what kind of pressure you want in here, changing your fuel level, the tyre compound with road, supercar and eco grades. leave it on road. You know, we'll get a little bit dangerous here. Of course, electronic suspension, dampers and aero are still locked right now, but in time this is going to be the ultimate customization for any track that is we're going on. Perhaps some tracks, you know, are right corner heavy or left corner heavy. We want to adjust that camber on the corresponding corner, the level of detail we want to see. Now, listening to the audio that we've got here, a little bit questionable, I think is the best thing to say right there. Does it sound like an Abarth? And we don't have the pit limiter enabled. I need to edit that or map that button onto the controller just here. But listening to the car audio, oh, I don't have the buttons mapped correctly either right here. We actually dropped down to first as opposed to third. We'll cycle through the cameras, but I just want to focus in on the audio of the vehicle. I want to know what level of clarity, what audio level we've got on the car exhaust note in particular. I mean, I can see where this exhaust note's coming from. I own an Abarth, but it's the second car we've got out in the driveway here. Throw it into the first corner, so I understand the exhaust tone it is they're trying to go with there. Is it fully there? Perhaps not. I'm not going to be too critical. I can't be too critical. We know how good this game is truly going to be. Maybe that changes going forward. But it feels a little bit dated exhaust audio. If that's the only criticism we have in this game, that's perfectly fine. Moving on to the actual game itself, the handling model. Again, we're in a 695 Abarth here. We're not going to be the fastest, the quickest, the most stable on track. We've got the standard road tyres on, but instantly we can see the cars are very controllable. We are on a joystick controller right here. I've not jumped onto the steering wheel as of yet. That will come in a later video. But like we can see, we can clip those apexes, we can throw it into these corners, hit the outside apex, and steam into the next corner far too fast and ruin a lap that you've got ahead of you. But on the early output of a track, very, very, very happy with what we've had so far. Move over to a track I'm more familiar with. We will move over to Brands Hatch GP, once again in the 695, and I have this time enabled the pit limiter, changed it over to the down button there on the controller. So we have now got a pit limiter enabled, like we can see, limited to 49 kilometers per hour. Leaving it on a little bit too long here. I do wait for the exit line, take that limiter off. Fantastic, another feather in the cap. I like to see those little things in games where we've got set speed limits and we can have a pit limiter. That there is exactly what we want to see, and I'm very glad that once again we have got that. Come up into the first corner here at Brands Hatch, the first proper corner that is, when you start off the lap. Nice and, you know, stable, I think is the best way to put that, around the first corner into that left-hander, and we lock up so we can see having the wrong tyre compound essentially there with the road tyres really compromising the lap that we've kind of set out there. So like I mentioned a little earlier, coming into this, and we can tailor the car's build for the lap that we've got here. Again, locking up, coming into that big left-hander, and another off-road incident where again we can have a look down in the bottom right-hand corner with the tyre pressure. And another big factor, standard road tyres, perhaps too soft or too hard. We have to tailor that to the track that we've got. We can already see that creeping up over 30 psi, whereas the rest of the tyres are the rear's at 27, the front left at 29. Yes, we were going into a heavy left corner, but we can see how much the tyre pressures are therefore going to affect the track or the race that we've got ahead of us. This level of detail is what I want in a race game. Now, yes, other games I've played are arcade race games. I've previously played some sim games, haven't recorded them. This is the ultimate, in my opinion, the ultimate sim racing experience. And it's crucial that at some point we all come over and experience what Assetto Corsa really is. Now, whether it's going back to a previous Assetto Corsa or Competizione, go and experience what Assetto Corsa is all about. Furthermore, you can go on to Assetto Corsa Evo, onto the early launch here, and truly understand why this game is the pinnacle of sim racing. In my opinion, a lot of people focus on iRacing or Gran Turismo or whatever it may be. For me, it is Assetto Corsa. I've just never had a desktop, a PC to actually play it on. Now I can, and now I can start to enjoy the beauty of Assetto Corsa. We've managed to get around our first lap here. It's not been the clearest, but it's good to come on and get an understanding of the game itself, the physics, the dynamics of the map, the dynamics of the cars, the handling model, everything that's kind of there. So of course what we now need to do is go into a quick race. We'll jump into the Audi RS3 Sportback on Brands Hatch Indy. Slightly shorter race that we're going to do here, just 3 laps around Brands Hatch Indy. So going from a slow front wheel drive car, or relatively slow, to a relatively powerful 4-wheel drive, you know, monster of a car. Let's not beat about the bush. The RS3 is a monster of a vehicle. Again, exhaust tones I'm not overly pleased with. Launching off the line, outpacing everybody else that was on the track there, so we've had no problem launching the RS3 straight up into second place. Now this one here, we do have a mixed grid. We can see we are just behind that Chevrolet Camaro up front there. So we're not doing too bad on our very first outing, on our very first race here on Assetto Corsa. Like I mentioned earlier, we have got the pit limiter. What I've also enabled now is the variable traction control. We've got traction control down on the bottom right below the speedometer at traction control level 1 just there, and I can cycle through this throughout the race depending on the road surface, the corners that we're going into. Maybe we want more slip, maybe we want to have that traction control kick in, like we can see just there, that traction control kicking in to stop us spinning out in the RS3. So having variable traction control just there is really going to benefit us become faster in game. Very happy to have seen that. One glaringly obvious thing though is I am using this on a controller, and what I can take from this is, yes, you can play on a controller, but it's going to be a bit of a challenge. Coming into some of these corners, when you straighten up the joystick, it takes time for the steering wheels naturally to come back to the 0 position. So for the steering wheel to come back round, you're expecting with the joystick resetting your car to instantly be straight. And it is very apparent when you're playing on a controller that that doesn't happen. It takes time for the road wheels of the vehicle, the front wheels here, to realign with the joystick. And you will feel that when you come into this using a controller, where someone's all over the back end of the RS3 here. One thing I do love is the little radar right in the middle of the screen above the car, telling us where the car behind us is positioned, what level of threat it is, how quickly it's coming in. As we can see, the Camaro completely dive bombing up the inside of us there, putting us down into 3rd place. That radar is going to be huge when this game really picks up and really gets competitive. You guys already know I like to be as clean and as precise as I can be on races. Whether or not I'm the cleanest, best racer in the world, you know, it's up for discussion. I'm certainly not. But having that radar is going to help us be a clean driver and focus more on having that clean lap time overall. Absolutely enamoured with the radar. Very simple, but I'm a simple man. I'm enamoured with that one. Talking about tyre pressures once again, how crucial is this going to become? We can see into some of the earlier corners the tyre pressures creeping up to 33, almost 34 psi, where we're looking for tyre pressures here to be about 28 to 30. Maybe 31 psi as we do end up coming off track, and we completely ruin the race we've got there, totally getting our ahead of ourselves, trying to carry in too much speed. Overall, absolutely thrilled with what we've got here. We're going to jump on and use the steering wheel. We're going to see how much better it is, and I can already spoil it, guys. It's 10 times better using the steering wheel over a controller. It's a race sim after all. It's not an arcade game where you can get away with using a controller. There's a lot to go with this one. I just wanted to come on and put out a quick video for you guys, 20 minutes or so, having a walkthrough, an early walkthrough, giving initial impressions of Assetto Corsa Evo. Even this right here, the cool down lap to drive back to the pits. These are the kind of the cool things we want to have. I like it. I'm absolutely thrilled with it. Yes, you can push the menu button, jump straight back. Why not come and do a cool down lap? You've got up in the top right corner, you know, box within 3 minutes 51, all that sort of stuff. All of this interface as well, just to add, is completely customizable. We can add things to our HUD, we can move things about. Perhaps we want the leaderboard up in the top right, the pit time down in the bottom left, whatever it is. All of that is fully customizable here. Chucking the pit limiter back on as the Camaro's just hitting every bump and wall it can coming into the pit, still riding that outside pit wall there. That's hilarious. Everything's customizable. This is what, in my opinion, a racing game should be. My thirst for another racing game is truly there. This tier, I think, is going to fill that void. So yeah, what an experience it was. A very early experience after all, but what an experience that was on Assetto Corsa Evo. I'm looking forward to making more content on this. Not every video is going to be Assetto Corsa Evo. I will most likely wait to put lots of content out until the full game drops and when the free roam drops, but for this week I think I'm going to put out some videos. Hopefully we can get into the driver academy, you know, get through the licenses and stuff, a lot like the old Gran Turismo games. But I'm absolutely thrilled with it, guys. I am enamoured with what we've got here, the level of detail, the level of customization we can got, and it's still very limited to what we can actually do. But this is exactly what I want in a game, what I want to be doing. Then we've got track racing, we've got the radar, we've got tyre pressures, everything we can set the car. This is everything I want to be able to do in a racing game. One of the big things though that I don't have over in other games is this replay camera. I love the replay camera, especially when we're filming an outro for a video. Overall, 10 out of 10 so far, maybe 9 out of 10. The exhaust notes pissed me off a little bit, but overall, absolutely thrilled with it, guys. I hope you've experienced Assetto Corsa Evo, and I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Stay tuned for more updates on Assetto Corsa Evo.